Hi, everyone. It's Adriana Monique Alvarez, the CEO and founder of AMA Publishing, and I'm so excited to have Terrie Silverman with us today. We're going to be talking about creativity, stories, entrepreneurship. She's going to be sharing this right now from my profile to hers, so you can catch it multiple places. We're streaming 4 places right now. So as you hop on, tell us hi, tell us where in the world you are joining from. I'm joining you, and you're seeing all this background I don't want you to see, so I'm going to turn you this way. I'm joining you from Colorado. And Terrie, where are you joining us from?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Now, Terrie, are you born and raised in California?
No. I was born in Miami because my mother was born in Brooklyn, so I've only lived in hot climates.
Oh, wow. Okay, so your mom was born in Brooklyn, and then she had you in Miami, and then you grew up in California, and that's where
Arizona, then San Diego, then LA.
So always, an Arizona connection as well.
Yeah. So always deserts.
There you go. I'm a fan of the desert myself, honestly. These like humid jungle type places, I don't like very much. So that's between you, me, and the fence post and everyone who's watching. So let me start off by saying this. Every time, there's a podcast interview or a social media live stream like this, there's typically an introduction and a bio, right? And most people aren't as cool as their bio, right? I'll be the first to admit that. But Terrie's actually cooler than her bio. So check this out. I have to read this to you so that you have just a tiny glimpse into who you're looking at right here. So Terrie has guided thousands of aspiring to professional writers and actors, as well as business owners, coaches, and entrepreneurs in uncovering their story gold. She's a story advocate because stories are the way we understand ourselves, each other, and the world. She loves helping people release the critic, access their authentic voice, and experience truly being seen and heard. Terrie's clients have created award-winning one-person shows, have toured nationally and internationally. I hope to add myself to that list. She also develops and has directed one-person shows. In addition to this, her clients have written acclaimed memoirs, novels, been featured in national publications, presented on public radio storytelling shows, The Moth and This American Life, as well as storytelling shows and theater festivals across the country. This year, Ms. Silverman received the Rainbow Award from the Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival, bestowed on an artist for the diverse contributions in fostering non-traditional and multicultural theater works. Terrie produces and hosts Gorgeous Stories, one of the longest-running storytelling shows featuring her workshop participants and coaching clients. She combines her love of animals and creativity by using animals as catalysts for creativity with her online class, Pet Lit, Meditate and Write with Your Animal, as well as Get Your Goat. Is it goativity? I love this.
Yes, it's the word I invented. Yes.
I like this word. Write, draw, and laugh with goats, which is what initially connected me to her. It was the picture of her and a goat. She does these in-person workshops and parties in Los Angeles. Los Angeles Magazine called her a goat innovator. And they are so right. Terrie, thank you for taking the time to be here. And I know we have many things to talk about, including figs. They're beautiful this time of year. I don't know if you all have got yours. And the scent of lavender, which, we've got lavender in the yard. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. And you were wondering what apron I was going to wear today. So thank you for reminding me to put my apron on, because I will be cooking something later, which you know very well. Because we have spent the last 7 months together. You probably know me more than you ever wanted to get to know me. And this is what I want people to know. Very few people can actually take someone through the storytelling process. It is like going through 17 months of pregnancy and 8 years of labor with someone, and you do it so beautifully. So can you tell me what got you on this path? Because this isn't just a career for you. This is who you are. This is what you were born to do. So what got you into this?
Thank you, Adriana. I so appreciate being here and everything you said. And what I'm doing, I had no idea that I would like it, that I could do it. It's the most unlikely thing in the world. Because the only thing my mother told me not to do was teach, because she was a burned out second grade teacher. And
Mm,
I am here because of adversity.
mm,
I had a day job. I was writing and performing all the time. I managed a coffee house. I was an excellent barista. People
mm,
would ooh and ah over the foam that I would make on the cappuccinos. And then I got tendonitis, carpal tunnel in both hands. Both hands
mm,
went down. I had no idea how I was going to support myself. I didn't know what to do. Every day I would go looking up at the sky, hoping, the clouds would tell me, tarot card readings, runes, everything.
mm,
And it wasn't until my writing and performance teacher, who really inspired me to start writing about my life and performing it. She was leaving Beyond Baroque Literary Arts Institution, which is a wonderful place here in LA. And so my first thought was, oh my gosh, the community is now not going to have this workshop.
mm,
And the only thing I knew was that my next job had to involve my brain, not my body.
mm,
So I thought, I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to give it a go. So for whatever reason, Nancy actually recommended me to the artistic director. And the very first day of my workshop, I didn't realize, but my playwriting mentor teacher, who was really my Annie Sullivan at the water pump, who helped me get everything that was in my head onto paper. And before that, before I met him, literally I would get suicidal and paralyzed whenever I had to write. I didn't turn in
mm,
any of my reports in school. I would eat so many donuts, I thought I would die.
mm,
And he really took me under his wing and taught me how to get out what was here. And I found out I was creative. I found out I could write. And so that very first workshop, I could hear his voice in my head. And it guided me. I didn't know I had absorbed so much from studying with him. And at the end of that very first workshop, I identified the sensation that I had. And it was the same feeling you have as when you're in love.
mm.
Never had been so sure of something. That was 22 years ago. So that's how my teaching and coaching came about. And I do love it as much as I loved it that very first day. And I feel so lucky to get to do work that brings me joy, because I was a crappy legal secretary, tell you that.
Oh my gosh, the world would be missing out on so much if you were a legal secretary.
Not good.
Oh, well, I'm so grateful when life takes these twists and turns and puts us in this position. And I love that you looked up, for a sign and for a way, and it all came together. And here we are. Now, I have to say, there might be other people like myself. When I first saw your picture with the goat and we were thrown into a group together, I read your information and your bio and your emails, and I went, what on earth is a solo show? What's a solo show performer? And I thought, oh, there's this whole other world I don't know about. So for the complete novice, how would you describe a solo show and why do people create them?
So, solo shows have been in existence for at least the last 50 to 60 years. And in terms of a business plan for theater for Broadway, it really makes sense, because one person instead of a full cast. So, it's a great way to go economically. But in terms of the art form, the reason that I love it is because you can do anything and everything. You can bring all the parts of yourself. And the art form in and of itself does not have limitations.
Mm,
People started doing biographical shows. So one of the most famous one-person shows is Hal Holbrook doing Mark Twain.
mm,
Then there was also a solo show about Emily Dickinson. And then people started writing about themselves
mm,
and, really push the parameters. People writing about themselves, their life, their family. It could be about a theme. One of my role models is Anna Devere Smith, who is brilliant And what she does is she will take a theme or an event. She will interview thousands of people. She will not write one word, but she will become these people. And her art is paring down the interviews. So she did something
Mm.
called Twilight, which was about the Los Angeles riots, and that put her on the map. And she did that, whenever about 5 years after the riots. So I love that artists can put whatever they want and all of themselves into it. And the reason I love theater is because it is a way for us to connect and to
Mm.
commune with each other. And we have this communal experience with each other. I started doing solo performance work when I saw my teacher, Nancy Agabian, um, do something about her life and her family. And it was funny and it was brilliant and it was weird and it was unusual. And she was stacking chairs. And while I was watching it, all my synapses started going off. And I likened it to, this is what kids must have felt when they saw Elvis. Oh my God.
Mm.
So I started studying with her. And then anything that I've had angst about, I do a solo show about, because that's my passion. And boy, is it a way to connect, release guilt and shame and embarrassment, and create from joy and playfulness, which is so what I'm about. So solo theater there's always one-person shows on Broadway just about every season. And all over the
Mm.
country and all over the world, there are fringe festivals that also feature solo performance. And because you are such a adventurer and world traveler, I know that I want you to be going to fringe festivals with your amazing one-woman show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is so true. There I've had lots of different kinds of experiences, and yet the experience I had with you creating my solo show, I mean, there was a lot of ebb and flow and highs and lows, but ultimately that's what we did is we just drilled down on that joy and playfulness, that silliness until we struck gold, until it was by far the most dominant in all of the mix. And I have to say, to experience that as an adult was the best payoff of anything I've ever done. So I can't, I can't say enough. Like, I wish everyone would create a solo show, right? Because you're so good at helping us see there's actually a million stories inside of us and letting loose. So let's talk a little bit about this.
And I just want to add, you don't have to be a writer or an actor.
Yeah,
Really, we're having an experience of what makes you unique and extraordinary. And also in the process, you get to have that experience of yourself.
absolutely. It's like one of those things where it's like no experience necessary, and it's really true. It's really, really true. You don't have to have a certain type of background or a certain, you don't need a certain resume to go down this
Yeah,
path.
and I always tell people the only requirement is the willingness, because
Mm,
all the other stuff, that's what I help you with and guide you through.
yeah. And I mean, the number of tools and exercises and rabbits that you pull out of hats. I mean, you have something for everything. I've watched you not only with me, but with the other people that I was in class with. And this is something that I want to address because we are always our own worst enemy, right? Especially when we get into creating. And so, what have you found um, when you watch people and they begin to turn on themselves, when they begin to stop believing in themselves, when they begin to fear that their story doesn't matter or no one wants to hear it? What have you found helps us, helps lead us back to the truth?
So first of all, just acknowledging that it's normal and natural,
Mm.
that we all do it, that you're not stupid for feeling like that. We get so conditioned to so wanting to be excellent. And also we compare. And whenever we compare, it's a sinking ship. So to look at it, I think to reframe it as it's fear and that's okay. And
Mm.
if we can go back to What do I want to say? How do I want to play? So I try to help you take the pressure off it and really focus on the creative process. And in that, creativity is challenging because it's also about the unknown. So
Mm,
it's allowing yourself to play, to giving yourself the leap of faith, because I guarantee you can do it. It's just allowing and not listening and believing that the fear is the truth.
mm,
Fear and courage so play off against each other, and we have both of those in us. And it's also getting support,
mhm,
getting encouragement. Encouragement goes a million miles. And then being witnessed and finding out people are interested. And then that's the great thing about being in a group, that
mhm,
it takes away that voice of who cares, and you see it in people's faces. They lean in, tell me more, I had no idea. And having that fuel of knowing that people actually now are understanding you is a great antidote to it, as well as proving to yourself that you're more than your fear, and to
mm,
not to have the fear be there, but to not let it stop you.
mm.
And then,
Yes.
when we go step by step, so it's not like being thrown into the fire, that you really are led up to this. And then also finding out everybody else is scared. So you're
Right.
not alone. Me, whenever I was in class, that was such a relief.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it is. It's such a step by step. Um, you can't even believe the distance that you travel when you're just willing to take the next step. Just take the
And
next.
you can't be objective. You actually, a lot of times, can't be objective about the worth of your work. And that's the important part of being witnessed. And then the reflections back of what people appreciate, what took them in, what they want to know more about. Because I don't think we can create in a vacuum.
I completely agree. And this is one of the things that I grew a lot in. So being in a group, and I didn't know anyone in the group. No one knew me, and everyone else had some sort of background in this or had done another solo show. And what I realized about maybe the third class is that every single person in my life is either related to me or they pay to be in my world. And I had never had just perfect strangers listen to me tell a story from the depths of my soul and then go, "Oh, wow, that's incredible. You should keep going with that." And it was such an aha moment because they didn't have to say that. They weren't being nice. They weren't There was not this agreement of the two of us. And so I found that that was huge in busting it open. Let's talk a little bit about this. We're taught to be good, right? So we're taught to be good. We've got to be good at something in order to do it. And I've got to make my show good, and my writing's got to be good, and it's got to be excellent, and I need to be the top in my class. You know that you helped me detox all this out of my system, right? What happens when we stay on that path, and every single thing in our life, like if we're not good at it, we don't do it, and everything has to be good. What does that do to us internally when that's the rut
Well,
we're in?
it shuts you down. It paralyzes you. It takes away the joy. It absolutely robs you of joy and all of what is possible for you. My very first 12-minute performance speech, which I actually thought was going to kill me, was called Being Good. And I was completely addressing it. And what I discovered in my creative process was, what brings me joy is being silly and giving myself permission to do things that I am not excellent at. So
Mm,
I love ballet, never good. And then I came up with being a mediocre prima ballerina. And so I put a tutu on my head, I put toe shoes on my hands, stockings on my arms, and then I became an upside down ballerina. And that was part of what I did in the show. And that then, when you're doing something that is fun and joyful, whether it's good or bad, completely leaves the equation. You're not even thinking about that. That was so fun for me. And really, my MO personally, my aesthetic about creativity is allowing yourself to do things, and you do not have to be excellent at it.
Yeah.
Because we get to have the experience of you. And as you know, I do an exercise with my clients in coaching specifically about that, to really show you and prove it to you what happens to you when you're doing something that's just about play, and that you do not have to be virtuosic to do something, because we get so conditioned.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
But
I
yeah,
think,
go ahead.
and right along with that, I think that what happens when you lay on top of all of that, the adult mindset, everything that we're taught in academic world, and then career, you add on the business owner, the professional, whatever it is. I find that what you helped me uncover as well is that I realized, whether or not I was fully aware of it, I would base what I would spend my time and money on what I was good at, right? So if I'm not that good at painting, I'm not going to go invest in an 8-week painting class. And if I've never acted before, so that solo show thing, that's not for me, that's for other people. And that was running how I invested my time and money. What would you say to the person who has never done this? They're not even quite sure what fun and playfulness is anymore. Let's talk about why this is a good use of our time, energy, money, all of the things.
Well, first of all, yeah, if you're so far away from playfulness, then that's a huge red flag of what is it like to not always be producing for it to, be for your business or make you better. First of all, just the intrinsic joy of the activity in and of itself. And also, I think we grow when we allow ourselves to experiment and risk. Because, I look at so many things in my life, I never would have known that I actually enjoyed it or was good. And I think it's so important to give yourself a chance and to not put that pressure on yourself of, oh, I better be good at it, and that's the only reason I'm going to do it. So that's the first thing. And it's a way for you to connect to yourself without having to produce. And I know it seems a little contradictory, but ultimately, when I work with people, I want them to walk a new path with their creativity. And that's really their intuition of learning how to trust and honor themselves, listen to their voice. You can't believe how unbelievably, wildly wonderful and creative your imagination is if you give yourself a chance and you allow yourself to play and be silly. We are so good at that when we're children, and we really lose it as we get older because of the pressures of, I better be good. I don't want to make a fool of myself. And so it's really part of the life force. And I also think creativity so connects you to your heart.
So connects you to your heart. Yeah, absolutely. No, everything you said is so true. Now, we're going to take a hard left here. Where, when, and why, how did you fall madly in love with all things the Beatles?
I actually did a solo show about it called Beetle Girl. I had just moved to LA. I was the new girl. I had braces. My hair was so bushy, and yet I still tried to have the Dorothy Hamill wedge. And it did make me look like George Washington. So that's welcome to ninth grade.
Oh God, yes.
And my father had just died. And I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't speak about it. I didn't know anyone that had happened to. And so I started ninth grade, and there was a girl that we connected with, and she invited me into her home. She had sisters. I'm an only child, so it felt like heaven. And then she told me, well, before I introduce you to my friends, they love the Beatles. I didn't have any brothers and sisters, so I only vaguely knew about the Beatles. And so she wanted to prepare me. And also, I don't know if I told her this, but I thought, I have principles. I am not going to like the Beatles just for them to like me. No, I have to genuinely like them, because I had another best friend who loved Chicago. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. So she brought over the Red album. So that is that was a 1963 to 1968, all their hits. And so she brings it over to my house. She puts the needle down, on the turntable. And within 30 seconds, something happened to my ears. Literally, they opened up. I started hearing things I had never heard. I could hear, the melody, the harmony, the bass, the drums. It hit me. That was it. And I didn't have to try. I just loved them. The music was fun and happy and infectious. Of course, I wanted to marry Paul McCartney. How could you not? Oh, and also, this is, so I actually got to have Beatlemania, because this is, after the 60s, because her whole girl group, our whole lives were built around the Beatles. We'd have Beatle birthday parties. We'd sing happy birthday to them. We'd make them cakes. We talk about them. We, where we ate lunch, we said that was Strawberry Fields.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I became a Beatle girl, and it, went all up went the posters, but really it gave me, and I didn't realize this till much later, it gave me so much solace and comfort because of the loss of my father. And I would tell, I would talk to Paul, the posters on my wall. I would tell him about the boy I loved. I would tell him everything. And I didn't realize that was helping me through the grief. And then I had a huge epiphany years later that what I had in common with John and Paul was that we all lost a parent, and we turned to music. Paul lost his mother at 14. John lost his mother at 16 or 17. So they found each other, and I found them.
Terrie.
And yeah, Beatles feel like family to me. It goes so deep, and the music always gives me joy.
Yes. We went to Denver was it this month, or I don't know, beginning of this month, I think. And we listened to the Beatles the whole way to Denver. And I was like, oh, Terrie would be so proud. And I had an aha moment because, you're always talking about them and posting about them. One of my best and favorite childhood memories was going to Telluride with my uncle. He would take me and my brother on these little, excursions, and we'd listen to the Beatles the whole way. And it's just happy, fun music. So I know that you regularly do these solo show experiences like I went through. Who would you say is ideal for this type of experience? I mean, I want every single person to experience what I did. I mean, you can hear it and you can get it intellectually, but you don't know it until you really do it yourself. So who's ideal?
Can I ask you why you want everyone to experience it?
I want everyone to experience it because they will discover parts of themselves that have been hidden or tucked away, forgotten, buried. And it's not just during the experience or the solo show performance, but what I'm finding is it's after. Is you can't look at life through the same lens. Absolutely everything about how you see the world changes. The way you see yourself changes, right? And now I told you one of the things that I thought was so big was I'm turning 45 in December. And so up until now, I feel like everything I did in my life, it was a mix, but a lot of it had to do with like, hitting some sort of benchmark, right? Some sort of achievement. It was a lot of that. And I feel like for the second half of my life, I want it to be about, oh, I want to do this. This is joyful. This is fun. This is interesting. This is exciting. Like you said, this is a new adventurous thing, and I can take this risk, right? Because I know myself well enough. And I think the thing that I want people to experience is when they share their story, whatever their story is in whatever way they tell it, they will be blown away by how many people appreciate it, who get them, who all of a sudden see themselves in another person and don't feel alone.
Yes.
That is just priceless.
And I know that it's an empowering act.
Such an empowering act.
And it's a way to connect with yourself, with others, and you don't know who you're going to inspire by telling your story. And it really changes how you see and connect with yourself. And it really is a way to honor yourself and appreciate yourself and all the things that you are embarrassed about. There is humor and irony and absurdity in all the different parts of ourselves. And it's also to really prove to yourself how much more you are.
So much more. And I have to say this, if you need more laughter in your life, you got to do this. Like I can't tell you how much we laughed every single Thursday, right? And I would get finished with the class and it would just be like, oh my gosh. And I could see experiences in my life completely different after every session because you had us do something with it, share it, be seen, receive feedback. And it was like, all of a sudden it was different. So,
and I think it also really helps you to absolutely trust yourself and your voice and your
oh my gosh,
intuition. Because
100%.
I'm always working towards helping you tap into your creative gold, which is where the subconscious is. And the way to do that is getting out of your head and trusting and doing oral storytelling and letting go of trying to be good, because that then applies to the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you are capable of so much more than you realize. And it's really a rite of passage, something to be so proud about. And then, of course, the practical things of, for business people, you can absolutely use it for a dazzling keynote, for a TED Talk, for podcasts, for interviews, whether you want to write a memoir. But it's a way for you to connect in such a deeper, profound way with yourself and your audience and your clients.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. This is as a business owner, I find that really everything comes down to levels of connection to self, connection to purpose, connection to those you work with, and connection to your story is what creates the pathway to all of this. So, Terrie, when does your next round start?
So the next solo show standout story masterclass starts mid-September. That's a group class. I also offer the exact same coursework as one-to-one, and I can take 2 clients per quarter. So you can start soon.
Today. You can start now.
Yes, with either one. And then I also have 8-week Uncover Your Story Gold workshops.
We're going to make sure that we put in a link, connect with Terrie. I will say that you will not regret it whatsoever. Terrie, thank you for being such a champion of stories and helping us find the courage to be ourselves and to tell and share what matters to us. I know that you have offered different experiences for a lot of my clients, and I've got to experience so much of you, and I cannot wait to continue on the journey.
So I feel so lucky and honored, first of all, that I met you, to have the privilege to get to work with you. Your artistry, your courage, your bravery. Someday I will experience your cooking.
Yes.
Now it's just, seeing it, hearing it, talking about it. But getting to do this gives me so much joy and it's such an honor. And really, when people invite me into their stories and the creative process, to me, it feels like they're inviting me into their house. And for an only child, that's everything. And that
Mm,
just gives me so much joy. And it honors me and shocks and surprises me that I get to do such meaningful work. So I just feel like such a lucky duck. So bless you, Adriana. And I'm also so excited to continue working with you on your one woman show and all the magical possibilities that are going to happen with us working together since I get to direct you.
absolutely. I'm going to keep you all posted on where it goes from here. It's already, well, I'm sending out invitations because we're going to do a county road premiere here at my house next month. So exciting. Connect with Terrie, give her your money, go on the journey. It is so worth it. You're going to blow yourself away. And I cannot think of a better guide. I cannot think of a better person to take you by the hand and walk you through it. All right, Terrie, until next time, I'm going to go make you a raspberry Danish. I'll be sending it your way.
Thank you. Thank you. Such a joy and a privilege to be here. And I so appreciate you.
All right, big hugs from Colorado. Here's to your creativity. Go unlock.